Donald Trump is on his trip to Asia, where he's being heralded as Asia's peacemaker. Welcome to Law and Society. Please subscribe. Today I'm going to talk about the high praises that Donald Trump is receiving from East Asian nations, and it's kind of a show. It's absurd, and it's a thinly veiled lobbying campaign for next year's Nobel Peace Prize, and I think that it's tacky. Anyway, so he went to Thailand and Cambodia, and I believe he brokered a ceasefire between Cambodia and Thailand. That's what both those countries have said. Cambodia has also nominated Donald Trump for next year's Nobel Peace Prize. Remember, Pakistan also did that under the claim that Donald Trump had brokered a ceasefire between India and Pakistan in their recent conflict. India doesn't seem to believe that happened. And Donald Trump tacitly brings up Prime Minister Narendra Modi of India and saying, no, we will fight, and sort of inferring that maybe Donald Trump had something to do with the ceasefire with India and Pakistan as well. India is not having any of it. Then he went to Japan, meandered through Japan, and Japan's new prime minister feted him with American rice and American beef to please President Trump, and then nominate him for next year's Nobel Peace Prize as well. I don't know what to say about these nominations, but to say that let's see how long the peace deals can stay in place, because as I speak, Israel and Hamas are violating the ceasefire that was established by Donald Trump's regime in Israel and Gaza. It's being reported that over 60 people have died after Israel attacked Gaza. Gaza and Hamas is saying that Israeli soldiers came in, and Israel is claiming that Hamas killed Israeli soldier, thereby violating the ceasefire. So that ceasefire is slowly but surely seems like going up in flames. But Donald Trump seems to be okay with Israel hitting Hamas, and at least he seems to be saying that if Hamas gets aggressive, that Donald Trump will take them out or disarm them ourselves, meaning, I guess, the U.S. troops. I don't know. Then he went to South Korea, and in South Korea, Donald Trump was feted by the highest honor in South Korea. I can't pronounce it, so I'm not going to butcher the name. And also gave him a replica of an ancient Silla crown. Silla was an empire which at its peak had control over 2/3 of the Korean peninsula. Well, first of all, I kind of fell off my chair when I saw that, because I was like, oh, that better not be one of those real crowns. And later on, I was slightly relieved, because South Korea is not that stupid. They made a replica of the crown, specially made, specially manufactured for special Donald Trump, in order to present it to him for his efforts of bringing peace to the peninsula. And by bringing peace to the peninsula, it means talking openly about befriending Kim Jong-un. And the ironic part about this particular thing is, while South Korea is buttering up Donald Trump, giving him their highest honor and a copy of the Silla crown, North Korea is test firing missiles off their coast, as Donald Trump is in South Korea. So we kind of see through the veneer of this peacemaker going around the world saying that I am declaring peace. We have to see how long the Thailand-Cambodia peace deal continues. We'll see how long the Israel-Gaza peace deal continues. If you want to talk about the reality on the ground, they have already broken their ceasefire agreement on both sides of Israel and Gaza. Now, Israel and Hamas. Shouldn't say Gaza. Israel and Hamas. There's really no peace development in the Korean Peninsula. Not entirely sure exactly for what peace initiative Japan would have nominated Donald Trump for, but Japan's new prime minister is extremely far right and seems to be getting along very well with Donald Trump and knows exactly what to do to get in Donald Trump's good graces. And I wanted to come out and give you a little idea of what is happening across the other side of the pond, where Donald Trump is on a mission to call himself the peacemaker and make another case for the Nobel Peace Prize. I'll end with this. Nobel Peace Prize's inscription is Pro Pace et Fraternitate Gentium, which means for peace and and brotherhood of men. So we're going to have to see how peaceful Donald Trump can be, because while he is being the peacemaker in Asia, mind you, he's not considering China or India into part of that, because he still has considerable trade tensions with China and India. And China and India are the two largest economic powers of Asia. And they are number 2 and 4 in GDPs in the world. And soon India will become the third largest GDP, passing Japan. So he should be considering his relationship with India and China peacefully as well, if he's thinking about being a broker of peace. And then there's the whole thing with South America I just talked about, that he's positioning to do something that is not entirely peaceful in South America. And he has ordered the nuclear-powered aircraft carrier fleet to the coast of South America. There are all these different relationships that he's pushing and pulling, from dictators like Javier Milei and Nayib Bukele in Central America, in El Salvador, to alienating Colombia's Petro, because Colombia's Petro called him out on these indiscriminate killings in the Caribbean. And he's talking neutrally about Brazil, but doing a trade deal with Brazil. And then he's talking about overturning the Maduro regime. And the news is coming out quite openly that is happening. And I would venture to guess it's because of their oil reserves, and therefore the trade relationships that would come if it was a pro-American government there, which Maduro is not. And so it's not clear what the posture is of Donald Trump as he vies to be the peacemaker, while he's sending out National Guard troops, federal agents who are assaulting American citizens on American streets, violating their First Amendment rights. Then he's sending out agents all across the country to racially profile people and wrangle people up and put them in detention centers without due process of law, violating the 4th, 5th, and 6th Amendments of the Constitution. Then collaborating with states like Texas and Florida and Indiana to electorally cause insurrection and undo the congressional maps, and he's playing the role of a fascist dictator in America as he divides the American people constantly on a regular basis while he demolishes our history by destroying the West. He's destroying the West Wing by being there. And he's literally destroyed the East Wing because he got angry that 8 million Americans got onto the streets of America and told him to shove it. And we are dealing with a police state in America where Donald Trump is violating constitutional norms that give power to the states, that give power to Congress. He's taking away Congress's power. He's taking away Congress's spending power, Congress's tariffing power. He's taking away state policing power. And all of these things are hanging in courts, but he continues to attack America from within. Also by imposing the tariffs, which 2 courts have said are invalid. So in a gist, Donald Trump's CV at this point, his resume, looks very much disruptive as opposed to for the peace and brotherhood of men. Because if he was seeking brotherhood, he wouldn't seek to divide Americans by doing something as heinous as depriving blue-governed states of FEMA disaster relief and thereby betraying his own people because the area of Maryland where the disaster struck, which FEMA is denying relief for, voted overwhelmingly for Donald Trump. So the irony there is quite clear. And Donald Trump is betraying them because they live in a blue-governed state. Yeah, I'm going off into this, limitless rant, but think about it. If you're thinking about Donald Trump being a peacemaker, shouldn't he be consistent in making peace? And shouldn't the peace that he heralds be enduring as opposed to flimsy and a thin veil and a lobbying ploy for a prize that is given to people who are dedicated to peace and brotherhood? Come on, think about it. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon.